Hi, I'm Rita McGrath of the Columbia Business School, and I'd like to share with you some observations I would make about where companies so often get it wrong when it comes to really understanding what's going on with their customers. And I'd like to use the example of a friend of mine who goes on an awful lot of business trips, and as a consequence, she deals an awful lot with limousine companies. And the first limousine company she'd been using was a fine company from the perspective of getting her from her home or office to the airport, but she called them up and they would all be verbal, right? And then there would be a lag between, the trip happening and the invoice happening, which was problematic because all those receipts had to get turned in. And in addition, about 19 times out of 20, the service was absolutely fine and exactly what she'd asked for. But that 20th time, they'd get the date wrong, or they'd mix up AM for PM, and they wouldn't be where she wanted, and it was all a frantic scramble. So in search for a better solution, she went to a company that offered internet-based scheduling. And that was better because you had a record now. She could actually make sure she put in exactly what she needed and there was no misunderstanding. But that company had its issues as well, like she never got receipts reliably through email. Or sometimes the driver would have to be called once or twice to actually appear where she wanted him to be, and that was kind of inconvenient too. So in the quest for a better experience, she's finally landed now on a limousine company where she books it on the internet. They send her an email to confirm so she knows they've got it. They send her an email when the guy's on site. They send her an email when the trip is completed, and no more than 2 hours after the trip is completed, she gets a complete electronic receipt with a charge card to her card. Now she's happy, and that limousine company, that third one, is now going to get all of her business because they've made the process of doing business, the whole process, easier for her. Now here's the thing, and I want to use this as an illustration for a basic fundamental problem I see all the time. Each of those companies did a great job at the provision of limo services. Nice clean cars with polite drivers who showed up on time and did their job, getting her from point A to point B. But those first two limo companies probably won't ever understand why they lost her business. The first one, because it was just a hassle to do all the back-end stuff she needs to do to keep her customers happy. And the second one, because even though they got a lot of things right, they didn't realize that the invoicing and billing part of the total experience was going to be so much of a determinant of the buying behavior. So here's my advice to anyone watching this who really wants to get into the heads of your customers. Use what I call consumption chain analysis. From the very first moment a potential customer becomes aware they need your service, all the way through they do all the different things they need to do to the time when your relationship is done or you need to sort of renew the next relationship. What are all those activities? What are the payment activities? What are the searching activities? What are the installation activities? What are the complaint activities? And I would argue until you understand that whole chain, you're horribly vulnerable to what happened to those first two limousine companies.